Hey everyone, let's start healing. I'm Adrienne Murchison, and welcome to episode 97 of the Let's Start Healing podcast. We have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. Something that's been on my mind is it's a couple of things, and I just feel like they're all connected. One is my mom. One of the things about my mother is that she really thought that I was beautiful on the inside. And she used to tell me that, you're really beautiful inside. You're really beautiful inside. And uh, the reason that I know that's true is because I know I'm my mom. I know I have my mom's heart. And so my mom was beautiful inside. So if I'm my mom, then if I have her heart, then I'm beautiful on the inside. And what's been coming up for me is how she used to say, don't let anyone ever change who you are. Don't let anyone ever change who you are. My guest is Lador Milteer, who has struck me in such a profound way because she reminds me of me in some ways. I mean, but let me tell you something. She is just out of the box in ways that I admire that are not me. But I really admire so much. But there's an aspect of her that reminds me of me, that reminds me of my mom. And it's something that she said during the episode about how much she loves people. She just really loves people. And Lador is different. And you'll hear that in the episode if you listen. She is just a different, dynamic person. And I think that people who love people, I love people. That's what drives me with this podcast. That's what drives me with the way that I want to connect with people. That's how my mom was. My mom had the biggest heart. She had the biggest heart. And I think that people who love people are seen as different. They're a little different. I could see how my mom seemed a little eccentric, and not by people who knew her. People who knew her just saw her as a ball of love. But my mom walked to the beat of her own drum. She did that for sure. And I certainly do that in my own way. And Lador does that like off the charts. And I think that uh, people who love people, who want to connect with other people, and who want to be of service to people, yes, but want to touch you, to like let you know who you are and why you're important. I think that they are seen as I should say can be seen as a little different, because let's say you're not in that activity and you're just like living your life and you're just going from day to day. Well, you might engage with somebody and they might see you as a little odd over the excitement that you have in your spirit. I know that's happened to me. I know that's happened to Lador. I know that's happened to her. And it comes back to, for me, and thinking about this, how my mom used to say, well, I shouldn't say she used to say, she said it to me one time in a really important moment that I needed to hear it, that doesn't even relate to this, but I still needed to hear it. And it's something that's been with me for 30 years. And that is, don't let anyone change who you are. Don't let anyone change who you are. And that's true for all of us, no matter what, the essence of who we are and how we show up as a human being in love, we shouldn't let anyone change that or alter that. And I'm so grateful that my mom said that to me as such a poignant moment that I needed to hear it. And it's really resonating for me today when I think about Lador. And I'm like, Lador is so exuberant, and I'm not as exuberant as her by any means, but I see myself in her. I see my mom in her, in having this love of our fellow man, this love of people. We talk about so many things. Well, first of all, she is a community activist, really, an organizer, really. We talk about her experience in being a mom of a nearly teenage son and having to worry about experiences of him engaging with the police and how she reacts to police shootings and just the trauma that she can feel around that. And we talk about, gosh, women and infant mortality rates and what women go through in pregnancy if they're losing a child. Of course, we talk about spirituality and her spiritual path and what that looks like, the importance of being present, being different, being motivated. So let's meet her. Let's get started and let's start healing. Welcome, Lador.
Oh,
We have, I'm ashamed to say that's not the first time that happened. And one of my favorite people reminds me of you. There's a couple people that reminds me of you, but one of my favorite people reminds me of you. I was thinking about her before you got here, and we started talking, and I had forgot to hit record, and she was talking so deep. And so she was like, and then we started over, and then we were like, that was good, but it wasn't as good as the first time, you know? And so this is not gonna be as good as the first 15 minutes, because you were good.
Oh, we were, you know what it is? We were so connected.
Yes.
That we didn't think about the record button. We were having a
Lord
conversation.
have mercy. Please have mercy. I'm not even going to start out with what we started out with. So we can come back to that because that was just too authentic, what you were sharing. And we're going to go back to, I'm going to bring up some of the things you brought up about God.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. This is a moment. I am so in awe.
You're so busy. And before I get to my first question, you were just talking about your life is just so busy. I mean, you're a busy mom. You have a 12-year-old son who's in AAU basketball.
Correct.
You have a 6-year-old daughter?
Yes, Phoenix.
Yes.
My 6-year-old.
Oh, beautiful name.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so you have a 6-year-old daughter. You have a husband. You both work from home.
Yep.
You're super involved in the community.
Yes.
And so we were talking about God, and I was trying to get to your relationship with God, and you were talking about how there's an ebb and flow, you know, and talk about a little bit about how you grew up in New York and Florida. You're a native of Jamaica?
I am. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and I came to the U.S. when I was 2.
Oh my goodness.
So I was a toddler when I came.
Yes.
With my family. And I just, you know, we moved to New York, and boom, just like with our culture, it was just one of those things where we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to a Catholic school, and we're going to make sure that you have a connection and we have a connection spiritually with God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes in and out.
And when you were, was it in New York City when you were in church? Was that a Catholic church where you had a lot of people who would come to this church?
That's when I got to Florida.
Okay.
By that time, I'm a big girl now. I'm in middle school. I'm an athlete. And I'm bold and influential.
You middle schooler, you.
My middle school self. And I would basically recruit And I filled up that entire church.
It was a Catholic church?
No, at that time it was just a non-dominant, just bring everyone.
Yeah, non-denominational
it had the rhythm of the music though, like it was
Yes.
almost Pentecostal a little bit and really newy.
A lot of flavor to it.
Lots of flavor, and the music was amazing, and the choir was amazing, and it was led basically by such a young pastor that he was so attractive to us, charismatic to us. We didn't think of him as an old and church. It was just not like that. It was a relationship place that we got a chance to just kind of be.
Yeah.
We didn't have to dress up. We didn't have to do any of that. The rituals. But I realized that was one of my most strongest moments.
In terms of your
Connection-wise.
with your spirit and with God.
Definitely.
And then that just sort of dissipated as you went
Going
into
off to
high
college.
school and college. And you went to FAMU, which I didn't know.
Yes, I'm a rattler. Went to FAMU, loved it. I got a journalism scholarship there, so I got a chance to go early and be a part of this amazing program. Yeah, and I dropped out and came to Atlanta.
Yeah. What type of athlete were you, or are
Track.
you? Okay.
Track.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
4
sense.
by 100, my relay, on your mark, get set, go. And I went as
That's your
fast.
life.
I flew. And you're right. I took that mentality into my life. Oh my goodness.
And you were talking about how you want to have more time to have that connection with God and more presence with God now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little bit harder. There's responsibility, there's kids, there's family, there's a community, and I have to intentionally, which I'm still work in progress with, sit down and have my own time, my own meditation time. I'm learning that it's moving too. Like I noticed my car is becoming that little closet.
Your own personal space.
I notice it's my car.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because it can't be in the house. I noticed that it's in the car now for me.
Yeah.
That's where I feel it. That's where I feel the vulnerable. I'm open. I get a chance to kind of breathe,
That's beautiful.
think, let go.
Do
No
you feel
judgment.
God in your spirit sometimes when you're having that connection?
I do, in and out though. And I think that's because I need to work on my relationship with him to be a little bit more consistent. So I have my moments that I do, and then I have my moments where I don't.
But just knowing you and seeing your spirit, like I can see your spirit. I mean, it's like God is there.
Yeah.
Like, God is
my
there.
goodness,
So it's
yes.
only about it's not a matter of him not being there for you or anything. Because he's there and blessing your life and everything.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
to a
matter
whole
of-
other level. It's me just
wanting to feel the experience.
and especially when I have felt it to a different level, different times of my life before.
Really?
So I know.
Is there a time you can think of, like a time when you said, this is completely God, when a miracle happened, that you said, I have nothing to do with
Nothing
this. God
at
is all
all
over this.
Oh, most definitely. Oh my goodness.
What was that?
Oh goodness. I remember going back to school as an adult. So I went to FAM, dropped out, didn't graduate. Came back, finished up as an adult, a person who at this time had her own business, ran for office, community activist, and now student. Oh, I'm going back to school, like on campus at KSU University.
This is when because you ran for city council in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Exactly.
So after that.
Yes.
Okay.
All of no, actually this was right before I ran.
Okay.
That's when I graduated.
Which was like
2016, because I ran in 2017.
Okay.
And I realized that this was crash and burn for me in a time where now my kids are really young, because by the time I ran, she was 17 months, my daughter. So that was before that. And I remember taking my picture and I'm like, she's on my hip. My son is beside me. My husband's right there. The back of the school's behind me. I literally, while I was pregnant, was on campus with her, going through I didn't finish, right? So I got to finish. And I said, I had a moment. And I just had a little breakdown of just the world coming on my shoulders with that moment. And to see it through and to get through certain things and doors just opened up for me, it had nothing. Adrienne, when I tell you, nothing to do with me. Nothing. The blessings, the opportunity, the outpour of love. Like, people go their whole entire life wanting those moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
And are you speaking of the school part or the classes part?
Yeah.
Things beyond that when you decided to run?
Yeah, the opportunities after that to put a whole highlight nationwide on the race in which I ran. Oh my goodness, just opening up all types of doors for me. During that time, that was pretty...
A TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, you were on a TV show. Talk about that for a minute. That was pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. That was very cool. This is the time I ran for office. And there, at the time in Sandy Springs, there was never a person of color that was elected. We have social media, but no one used it as, I mean, it was earlier, right? So
it wasn't as intense.
It wasn't as intense.
Now.
I also had a time during that time where I was registering people to vote. So it wasn't like I was just knocking on doors or doing outreach. I had to kind of build something that wasn't there yet. John Ossoff wasn't there yet. Lucy Macbeth wasn't there yet. Like, we didn't have that here yet.
Right.
So I had to kick up the dirt to fertilize my own, because no one looked like me who's ever been knocking on anyone's door to run for office.
Right. There was one person who ran before you, and Shatika.
Yes,
she had run.
Yes,
and that was as well.
Yeah, and that was years ago. There was Sonia's.
Like, at least like 7 years, 6 or 7 years.
I think it was about that time. Yeah. And at that time, like I said, there was not really major social media, but there was a little.
Right.
And I got a phone call because I got so much attention. The picture of my daughter, what I'm holding, went viral.
Right.
How can she run for office? She's such a young mom. Like, she's has young kids.
Right.
Shouldn't she be focused?
And you're knocking on doors with your daughter on your hip.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was a time, and everything from, oh, well, how can she run for office, or how could we respect someone who is not focused at being home? Mm-hmm. You have to remember, at this time, when I'm running for office, there was not such a big outroar of or outspill of women running for office,
and it really wasn't that long ago. 2017.
It really wasn't.
I mean, 5 years ago.
Exactly.
6 years ago.
I mean, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
It just seems like it.
Yeah.
Viola Davis called me up and said, "I would like for you to be on a TV show. I have 4 women that's going to expose sexism in male-dominant industries, and it's going to be on Bravo." And you need to be a part of it.
That was a part of her production company.
Oh yeah, she was the executive producer.
Oh my.
Yeah, and they filmed me for an entire year.
And what you did, tell them what you did.
I went undercover as a man. I had to tell the production what to do with me. So I had to produce my own.
Who came up with this idea? And let people know what you mean when you say that.
Oh, okay.
Who came up with the idea that you would be a man? You'd be in disguise.
Right. So there was a married couple who would do different movies. Like they did The Clumps and all these other movies. And It's Called In a Man's World was a TV show. And this couple would put prosthetics on you. It took 11, 12 hours to make me into a man. So I could go out and be Lador and then be Roy and then see exactly how the world treats me, the difference, the sexism, exposing that.
Lord have mercy. And so what happened? And
oh
what
my
did you
goodness.
discover?
Oh, and you guys can still see this on demand once you put it in a man's world to go ahead and check this out, because it's so fascinating. To actually go out there, and I discovered a lot. I discovered a lot about myself.
You were a white man, right?
I was a black man.
You were a black man. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was a black man named Roy.
So go on.
Yeah, I said to I said, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to show the production company what it is that they didn't know what to do with me. Mm-hmm. We had other women, remember, 4 of us had different things. We had someone who wanted to expose sexism throughout her family because she was from India, and they tend to appreciate men more. We had a male, another one that was an athlete in a field of shooting pool. We had another one that was a pastor, and she, the congregation and people weren't ready for a woman pastor. And then we had me, an inspiring politician.
Right.
So it was such a great mix of trying to expose sexism in male-dominant industries.
And you found that as Roy?
Oh my goodness, I did. I know, the questions. I decided to set up a focus group and have people come to two times, and we pay them good. Come on in. City Springs, right here in Sandy Springs.
Right.
We'll go ahead and we'll have 2 focus groups. One will be with Lador, and I would like to see and hear from everyone who's participating what you think about me as a candidate. And then we're going to go ahead and be the same thing 2 weeks later with Roy. Same group of people, same issue. We're both talking about the same policies.
Right.
And it was a world of a difference. How is it that you have 2 kids? How are you going to be able to raise 2 kids and run for office? They never asked that to Roy.
Right. Right.
It was just a different mentality.
Right. And this opportunity is one of the things that you're saying that came about at the time that you graduated.
Lost the election.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But you had these other opportunities that just had nothing. You felt this was God working
Always
at work in your life.
Trying to say, even when it is that you think you lost, even when you think that this battle is done, even when it is that you are down and out, because I've fully exposed yourself when you're running for office. It's a lot it's a lot of vulnerability. You're really searching deep with this type of thing. You're getting a lot of punch. It's boxing.
Yeah.
You're getting hits back. And it's real. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Tell me what you do for a living. Do you work for the CDC?
I do. I'm a contractor, and I am now in COVID response.
Oh.
It is very, very hectic. I focus on crisis communications. I am a public health analyst. So what I do is basically dumb down what it is that epidemiologists have to say to the public. So I put it in a 6th grade conversation for everyone on all different platforms, from rollouts, comm packages, communication packages, social media. And that's what I do. I translate.
I bet that was so intense. That was so intense a few years ago.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You know what? It's been so intense because even with my ride with that, AFM, acute flaccid myotitis, was an issue when it came to children.
What is that?
Basically, it is an epidemic with kids between the ages of 2 to like that 6-year-old, where they have a little disease that paralyzes you.
Really?
So, and it's very, very uncommon. And there was an issue with it. It comes every 2 years. There was an issue with it, and they feel as if they didn't handle it through the media properly. So by the time I got in, it was 2 years later after that happened, I got there in 2000. Mm-hmm. So now I'm in crisis management, try to fix this, try to win back the trust of the community with that type of thing. After that, what happened? You go straight into DOP, Department of Overdose Protection. We're talking about opioids now.
Right.
Then what happened? COVID. Boom, 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 nonstop.
What do you think the temperature is out here? Do you think it's that people aren't concerned because they think that we're not in the pandemic anymore? Do you think, what do you think the temperature is right now?
I think it's very, very, very lax now. I feel like going through certain, the process of having the people deciding whether or not they're going to get vaccinated, not vaccinated. We had the mask movement, which was a whole nother political situation. Right. It was just, I think now we're at a place where even whatever your views are about it, you want it behind you.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
It's like, I'm over this. Whether it is I was pro-mask, not pro-mask, whatever it is at this part is, I just would like to go to events.
Do you feel like you're different in any way? Your life is different. You are different in any way than you were pre-pandemic?
Oh, yeah. I feel, I do. Yeah, I think everyone has.
Well, I definitely feel that way.
And it could be bad, it could be good, it could be indifferent. I think that there's something in a shift and a reality hit, whether it's positive, negative, or just a new way of life.
Do you know, can you pinpoint what shifted for you?
Yeah, I got a chance to slow down.
Really?
Let me explain. How that is the scariest thing in the world for me. It is, and I'm being completely vulnerable. Look, this is the comfort zone with me and you right now. I can work in chaos like no other. Yeah. I flirt. I'm great. I'm great at it.
Yeah.
When you're working out and you're running, I can run all day long.
Yeah.
It's high, you're high intensity, your heartbeat's racing, you can't even really feel things. You're
Yeah.
kind of going through it, pushing through it. You have something. But then if you have a personal trainer and they say, I want a slow burn, I want you to not do a lot. I don't want you to do it fast. I want you to feel this right here. I want you to take your time with it and go 1, 2. Oh my gosh. I would just slide off the machine and fall on the floor and just roll over and act like I'm dead.
Because you like the distraction.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And that, I didn't have the distraction during COVID. And that's where my weakness, my insecurities, my certain issues.
That's the rub. Wow, you probably would surprise yourself so much if you just like were in a silent retreat or something.
I certainly would.
You would.
Somebody come get me.
I mean, you would probably surprise yourself so much because you have so much power, and then you have even more power that you're probably unaware of.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You know?
It's definitely an area that I feel would be a journey for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that I think would be hard. Being able to have that.
Yeah.
Those moments.
Yeah.
That really makes me sometimes have to be quiet.
You have me thinking of something I've brought up before is you've probably been to like Ella J in the mountains. Have you been up in the North Georgia mountains?
The only one was the one with the spa. What's that one with the book club? If you
Chateau
say
Alon?
I've been there too, but not that one. There was another one that's called
Up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Wow, I want to know what that is.
oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my now I'm not going to remember.
Wow.
But yes, I've been
Okay,
to it.
so a few years ago, a friend had a house they've since sold. And so she had a bunch of girlfriends up there for like a spiritual weekend. And I went up there, I think for Sunday, for the Sunday. And I've been up in the mountains many times. I love it. It's a different presence, all of that. But when I got there to this location, I was like, what is up? You know, it was a house full of women.
Right.
You know, everything's fine. Everything's lovely. But I'm like, what is going on? I go out on the porch, and what it was just completely silent. I mean, it was the stillness like was just complete. It was so beautiful. It took me a minute to understand, like, there's no noise.
That's
like,
what it is.
It didn't have
That's
to do with
different.
it didn't have to do with like whether we were talking or
Yeah.
not. It was like if I went off to the corner, complete stillness. And it just was so representative to me of what's inside of us.
Right.
You know, and we just put so many layers on top of that stillness that's inside.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely it. The stillness. That's where I should start working toward.
If people could see you got your hands to your face like Home Alone.
Stillness. Quiet. Ooh.
So based on your life now, you know, you have this profession we just talked about, your mom, and you're very active in the community, which we're going to get to. What do you think God calls you to do for you and others through your work? Whether your work is in the community, whether the work is with your job, what do you think God calls you to do? What do you think he sees as your purpose and your calling through what you're doing?
I think I'm still trying to figure that part out. I think that might be a life's journey for me to actually really know. But I feel that I am pretty much, and and when I say that loud, it's going to sound like it's so. But what I feel, and I don't have to be right. It might be part of it, and not all of it. I feel a support, and I think that that's really what I do, and I do it well.
You feel
I support others, almost as a voice, almost as a support. So when I speak about the community, I think about it as myself as well. And if there is something that I'm working on or standing by or standing for, I find where I like myself and where I do the best job. Not necessarily the job I always want to do. There's a difference. I think what I do well is support others. And for someone who feels that they're a leader, that doesn't really support, you're actually the support, not really the lead of something.
But doesn't that represent leadership?
I think it does. I think that support is a part of leadership, if not really all.
Yeah.
Because I'm a servant.
Are you an empath?
I think I am. I'm still learning what it is that I am on this journey.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's exciting about this. I find different layers and different moments that I learn new things about myself.
Yeah.
I remember not being a mom and this is who I am until I became a mom. Then I was not that anymore. It's so crazy. Not that I was less, not that I was more, not that I just wasn't. I wasn't that alone anymore.
You were responsible for lives.
Oh, we have changed. We have changed different.
Then your heart is outside of your body.
Yeah. I remember a fear that I had before I became a mom. That fear is nothing to me now. I have other fears. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just it. I think that we change. We're a part of a journey, and knowing who we are, knowing who we not, knowing what we need to fill up with, what we need to take out with. I think that that's a part of this. I think that we got to be nimble. We got to be able to, just not be so stuck in our ways or a part of always knowing who you are No, I don't always know.
Right.
It depends.
Right. And share a little about some of your activities in the community for people.
Oh, goodness.
You're politically active.
Yes, very much so. I'm nosy. I get involved.
This is an independent podcast.
Right. Correct. My new project, which I'm so excited about, is a gymnastics business that is now the contract is basically terminated, and we're fighting to keep the doors open. We have a month left, and I am invested, like I would be invested anyway, because this her story is so amazing. I'm all about the stories, and but my daughter goes to this school. Okay. This is med school,
right?
Hey, it came to me, y'all. I didn't go running after it. But yeah, my daughter goes to this school, and she's a young Black woman. She is 34, so she's a millennial. And she's a woman-owned business, and she's a Black-owned business in Sandy Springs. She's tried for grants. She's tried for this. I mean, there's little clicks, so it doesn't always work out. She doesn't get, she started this before the pandemic. She took over a situation. She went in on over her head because she wanted so bad, and she's passionate. She's strong. She's, follow her dreams. And of course, without a certain support,
right,
you're in it by yourself.
She can't afford to keep the gym open.
It's really
located in a city park.
Oh my gosh. It's time for us to come together and not just allow this stuff to happen. We have to show support. We're a community. There's certain groups in the community that would not allow this to happen to the groups that they're a part of. And we need to start to be that group, just like that.
Right.
And do some little support, whichever way. Maybe you need to rent out half. We'll try to connect this with this. Maybe we need to go ahead and start a little group me. Let's do a fundraiser all together. Let's us show the entire city council that we need a program just before it gets this bad. Not all businesses are going to make it, and I get that. Mine didn't, and I had two in Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs Hair Studios and Salon L'Adore on Roswell Road.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
You had
early
hair
2000s. Earlier on. So I get it. Did I have the support of a community? I didn't. Do I wish I did? I do.
It would be different now.
Oh, it would have been different.
Yeah.
So, what happened? Now, I've been there. I understand. She's a young mom too. She has a 4-year-old little boy. She's a single mom. We're going to go ahead and make sure we're going to do something. Let's speak up.
So you're trying to bring awareness to...
Trying to bring awareness throughout. Community, we need to be a part of this. City council, we got to get something. We got to find a way that mom and pops or small businesses, 260 to 300 kids go through her school. Yeah. What are we doing here? Mm-hmm. These are kids. What are we doing here?
So you're trying to help her to stay open or find another location.
Exactly.
Or...
Let's work together, and let's just not let this just happen. Let's come together and try to fight together, be together, and let's do something great. This is a perfect example of who we should be trying to save and bail out, fix, and be a part of. This is someone.
And during election season,
Yes.
what were you doing for different candidates?
Oh, it's so funny, the calls that I get to be a part of events, to speak on, to actually even call to, there's a win list that I was supposed to, there's a whole organization that you're supposed to go through with training. And when I get invited by these people to actually train people or speak on or be a part of a workshop or be a part of a convention or a seminar or all this type of things, when it comes to, I am always humbled. I lost. Like, what are you guys doing? But I think that I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
So you're there you've been called on to speak at different events.
Exactly. Speak, endorse, teach, share, everything from, workshops all the way to panel discussions. I think that I put the time in to listen, and I understand what grassroots and the ground. My ear is very close to it. And I think that's where I become useful. And I always want to make myself useful.
What are some of the issues that are important to you? I mean, when I say issues, I mean just sort of like in the world. We can start with Tyree Nichols, but just, are they women's issues? What are some of the issues? Child welfare? What are some of the things that just really touch your heart?
I think that
you talk about.
Yeah.
In the community.
Yeah. I think that I love people. I'm an extrovert. I am a servant, and I feel like a spirit all the way. And I feel that I'm going to work on this too. I will take on your feeling. And
that's an impact. Not good. I do that. Well, you're a Libra too.
I am. I am
Yeah.
fully. And because I am all about the justice part of things, that Libra, the scales, I feel like I am so in love with humans that anything that causes harm to a certain class, a certain group, it's wrong. And I think that's really what it's about. We can always break down. We could always debate policies. We could always have a conversation when it comes to anything. But overall, I think that justice and love and respect,
right,
that's the minimum.
Right.
That right there is where my tentacles go up. And that's what attracts me to certain issues, that usually goes down the path of me having to defend, speak for, back up, stand with certain issues.
I know you're naturally the way that you are, but you was born this way. You were born this way, but I mean, do you take after one of your parents? Do you have a sibling that's like this, or?
I think I'm a mixture of my environment and my parents, my culture. I think I'm a mixture. Now that I look back, I see certain things, right? So my mom owned a business when she was 19. Huge. Circle D Bakery in Jamaica. Businesswoman. She was born 1951. Like, I mean, just a third world country.
Yeah.
That's bold. My dad, politics. He was the first, he worked right under David Dinkins in New York.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The first, mayor of New York?
I was living there during that time.
Were you?
You were living there during?
Yes, okay. Yes. That time we were in Long Island. My father would take the train to work. I sat in David Dinkins' chair. I got to find that picture. I remember he put me at his desk and took pictures. This is politics. This is a black man. This is way back.
Yeah.
What was it before that? Like Koch or something like that? Yeah, I was in the mix of it. And even later on, before my father passed, he went back to Jamaica. They were both athletes. My dad played soccer. My mom played netball. And he went back to the community and build up the community. And he became the VP of International Bank of Jamaica. And it was always politics, people, business. It was always in me.
So you moved from New York to Florida, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of New Yorkers in Florida.
Yes.
Florida has a real New York vibe.
Caribbeans too.
Yeah.
A lot.
So when you got here, especially in the burbs, where we are, do you find that some people don't understand your sensibilities, or did you find that? I mean, maybe not right now, especially in 2023.
Yeah.
Because I'm only asking that because when I got here, I came for college, stayed for a while, left and lived in New York City for 10 years and came back.
And then came back.
And then it was just different. I mean, even the sense of humor, like I might say something that, would be a laugh. And here people just keep a straight face.
Right. Oh, that was not nice.
Yeah, just a little.
The hospitality's a little different here.
Yeah. So did you find that you struck people a little differently?
I really kind of dance to my own beat of my own drums.
Like if
pretty
they
much,
did,
so
you didn't even know.
You really, really take me as who I am here.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where I'm here or I'm not.
Right.
With me. I could be a little overwhelming, I'm a bit much sometimes. So I think that whoever, if this ever happened, I think that they've already established who I am and how this relationship, this friendship, or this acquaintance is going to go. This is Lador.
Yes.
And I expect nothing less.
And they should expect nothing less. So when we sat down, I asked you how you are today in this moment in your spirit, and you said a little
heavy.
Had a little heavy. Yeah. So talk about that if you can again.
Yeah. I've noticed that this is saying that we say my heart's in my stomach. It's a little heaviness that is around me. I can't shake it. It's stressful. I think I have anxiety, especially what's going on in the world right now. We have it all over the news.
With Tyree Nichols,
some other situations, things that we're still finding out about, that how we can be who we are. Everything sometimes is a fight. And we keep going through this over and over and over again. This is really PTSD. I think at this point I saw someone say that. And I'm just like, most definitely.
It's hard to comprehend. And I was saying to you before, for me, it's hard to comprehend human beings.
Yeah.
And then in this case, a group of Black men in uniform doing this. Yeah. You feel it's the institution of policing.
Correct. That is exactly what
I heard, I wish I could remember who I heard say it, because it was somebody notable on the news yesterday on CNN. I was watching it, and I can't think of her last name. Her name is Kristen. She's an analyst, and she's white. And I think it was her. I don't want to put words in her mouth.
Right.
But I think it was her that says she really thinks that the institution of police needs to be dismantled.
Completely.
And
no more training on top of training on top of training. That's like building on a house that is completely termites or all. You're just going to keep, nothing can come from that. It needs to be dismantled. It's a culture. It's a culture that when you can say Black lives, someone can else say, well, blue lives. I agree with her.
I mean, this is not a simple topic, but it's just so hard to understand. My father was a cop. He was not alive when this became such a trend.
Right.
But it's like, on one hand, I imagine what it must be like to go out there and put your life on the line.
Every day.
Yes. And I can't imagine going out there and trying to kill somebody else off of a traffic stop.
Right.
Just much less a group of men.
Right.
And nobody having the space inside
to as people. We're no longer looking. It's subjects. Almost as less than animals.
It's power.
It's power.
Yeah.
It is a toxic environment.
Yeah.
That you go in there, you come out thinking completely. I mean, the stories are awful. And I've heard from very close friends, inside sources, and it's a culture there. And it needs all that. Well, maybe we should pour more money into training. So it's,
In this case, I have not heard or read what was the reason for pulling him over.
Right.
Do you know?
No, I'm hearing that even though they said it was reckless driving, there's no proof of that. And that was stated by the chief. Like, we have no proof of that. We don't see anything that states that makes that true. That statement that was put as true. Nothing at all.
Wow.
My son is going to be 13 in the summer. This as a mom, this as a person, this as a Black woman, this as it's heavy. I feel like we keep going through this, and things are just seemingly it's just getting worse. You add body cameras, but then we have this. You add this. I mean, there was cameras all over.
Right. And you were saying that you don't your husband talks to him about this stuff because
Specifically,
it's
yeah.
really hard for you, and you don't know what he knows at this point about
especially about this situation at all. And you know what? I don't think I want to. I don't think I'm ready yet.
Yeah.
Adrian, I'm at the point where I still say, when we go into the store, take your hand in your pocket, take the hood off the head. Like, I mean, we're that. That's what it is. Like, I have to be like that, and it sucks. It sucks that we just have to, you know, I'm with my son, who's my height now, Christian, and, you know, he's just, you know, he's a little man, and I have to look at him and just look around for him. I don't need you to do that. Put your hand into make sure that you're always, you know aware of your surroundings, you know, just stuff.
Yeah.
If the police officer, just everything. He's not even driving yet, and he knows that he has to put his hand, because he has to follow what his father does.
Yeah. What does your husband say about all of this?
I think that all these Black men need to go and have some type of mental health therapy. Honestly, I think that right now I get a chance to do my thing, but I just feel as if there is a whole generation of broken Black men and boys at this point.
You mean as a result of the trauma
Correct.
Of all of
Completely.
this policing and lives not being valued
at all. And they know that the world thinks that this way, or the country thinks it this way, and they know how this goes. I remember speaking to a friend at dinner and saying, my environment made me, to a certain extent, of who I am, because I could have been my cousin who was raised in the Bronx, who had a hard time, and also her brothers who got caught up because of environments, because of poverty, because of systemic racism, because of these type of things. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, we're better, better, smarter, none of that. That's the only thing. Mm-hmm. And it's sad that these are the type of things, you know, and these are the stories. Oh, well, you resisted, or you pushed back off, so that means we'll go ahead and give you time for this. This is how much this is how much time you could get for that. But if you say and you take it lower, and you realize, I'm going to jail for something and for nothing at this point. I mean, it's just the whole thing needs to be, just like you said, dismantle what your friend said, and just start over.
Yeah. I know when I was growing up, like, my parents moved our family to the suburbs, you know, out of the neighborhood where gangs were growing and everything, because I was younger, but my brothers were becoming of that age. Yeah. But there's a lot of families that stayed because that's where they wanted to live. And sometimes, well, I mean, they had the ability to move, but they want to be in their neighborhood. And so it's like the times weren't like they are now. Right. And it's just interesting. If you stay, you can be at risk. Right. If you leave, you know, you have an opportunity for other opportunities in life. But it's just interesting. Even in New York, I know that there's people that would leave New York City, would leave like the neighborhood they lived in.
We did. We went to Long Island.
But some people would go back because they miss their neighborhood and that environment that they lived in. Yeah. But then that environment, they weren't a part of any negativity. Right. But the environment might be conducive for that.
Exactly. Yeah. So
it's really hard.
It's and it's stressful, and I feel it in my neck. I feel it in my back. The anxiety is real.
Yeah. As a parent, it's just is it something you consciously think about before these instances even come up in the media?
Nonstop.
When your son is gone or
it's nonstop. It's so real. You know, it's so often.
Well, something that I wanted to talk to you about after we had a conversation over the summer, and you were sharing a pregnancy experience.
Yes.
And it was just so powerful. And I think it would be so helpful to people just to hear of your strength and just what you went through, if you're willing to share.
Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you, I think that, especially now with the numbers of mortality rates of Black women in the state of Georgia, and the issue with health and what sometimes we are seen as. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. At this time, I was pregnant, and I was 5 months. And this is my second child. So I'm very, very, very excited. This one is planned out.
This is
I already have it right.
with your son.
Yes,
I mean, your daughter, excuse
exactly.
me. With your daughter.
Yeah, this one was after. So after my first child, Christian, now I'm right before Phoenix, right? So Phoenix right now is 6. So this is the baby before her.
Got you.
Only by, I got pregnant, 8 months later again. So this was right before Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then I got pregnant with Phoenix. But 5 months, planning my baby shower. I do it all. I plan elaborate events, right? I'm insane. And I was so happy. And I was going to have another boy. So it was going to be mama boys. It was going to end there. We weren't going to try for a girl. It was a wrap. Mama boys established. Boom. In my mind, there we go. I'm here for it. And in the middle of the night, I had
How many months again?
5.
5. Okay.
So like, woo, no problem. Like, I
Right.
mean, maybe. I mean, how? 5 months. I go to the hospital and they check my vitals. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Go home. No. I know something is wrong because I felt something wrong. Okay, no worries. You go back home. You're just probably going through something. It's fine. I said, okay, go on back home. Went back into bed. Went back into the bathroom. Used the restroom. Whoop, there it goes again. I feel something. This is crazy. I need to take my phone. I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to take a picture of what I'm feeling. And I'm going to send it to my doctor because I am not crazy.
Yeah.
Send it to my doctor. This is what's happening.
So you're taking a picture of your stomach or the movement?
I actually took my phone and put it underneath me. That my doctor could see my vaginal area and what was coming out.
Wow.
But when I stood back up, it went right back up. When I sat back down, it went back down. So it was a sock. It was the bag.
Yes.
So I said, oh, this is crazy. No, this is insane. And once I sent that picture, they said, come in right now. Got up. It's 4:00 in the morning or something like that. Rushed out. Husband took me to the hospital. After a few days there, sleeping upside down, they wanted to make sure that they could see if I could fix this myself, my body. Baby's fine. My body's rejected. This is not working. They don't give you, I guess they call it the clip, until you suffer with something like this.
What's a clip?
It allows nothing for the bag no longer to come down.
Oh, so they'll like pin it or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
But you can't get that until something happens before.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yes, you would have to have gone through a situation.
You would
this
have to
way.
be in crisis.
Correct. And you can't, it would be for the next baby. And the doctor came in and told me, yeah, we're gonna have to abort this baby. 5 months, right? 5 months. Because this point basically is your life or baby's life, and no baby's
Meaning
life.
that they cannot take the baby.
No.
And
the
you
baby
survive.
No. They're like, this is really, really a problem. And I cannot be the one that's responsible for you going in and everything from having septic to having whatever's going to happen to you. And then this baby don't make it anyway. Plus right now the baby's blind and deaf anyway. It's not fully developed. You can't do this. So, okay, well, my body, my life, this is what's happening in real time. He walked right out. This was one of the doctors that was right there. It wasn't my personal doctor. It was a doctor that happened to be on
Was your
call.
husband there?
I can't remember. At this time, this conversation, no.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably with my son, Christian, at the time. But that's what he did. He came in. He sees us all the time. It wasn't a big deal. He walked out. And I was just sitting there like, what's happening?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Really nice hospital. I have insurance. I'm at Northside.
Yeah.
Great hospital. Great.
Was this your OBGYN you're saying?
No.
Or this was the hospital
This was
doctor?
the hospital. Mine wasn't there yet. So
But he
I didn't
knew
know
you?
him.
Oh, okay.
This was the first time he
Okay.
checked me out, and then a day or so he came back, and this is what he's telling me at this point.
Okay.
We're going to stop the shenanigans. We're going to get rid of that baby and try again.
Oh my gosh.
Basically. He later came back and apologized to me.
Did you still have the baby in you at that time?
I
Mhm.
did. He came back and he said, I was very cold and I'm sorry. At this time, I'm not even thinking about him.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Oh, he hurt my feelings or he was so mean to me. I'm in a hospital. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about my baby. I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, where's my husband? My son, who picked up? I'm not thinking about him.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he came and he apologized to me that I was just like, yeah, you were.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'm sorry. And I know that there's a trend with that. And there's a conversation now about women, Black women in particular, who I guess doctors feel as if we're strong,
Yeah.
or don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's a certain, you know.
Yeah.
But he apologized. He did. And I told him I forgave him.
Yeah.
And then I had to have an abortion. So they gave me my morphine, and I asked the doctor right before he was leaving out, will I hear the baby cry while I'm pushing it out? Because I have to still give birth to this baby.
Oh my goodness.
That I'm aborting.
Yeah.
And he said, you might. So I said, okay.
Oh,
so
my
when
goodness.
I felt my body about to push the baby, I'm giving birth, I start screaming and singing. I can't even remember the song I was singing, but I tried to cover up any sound that might happen if I heard a baby cry. While this is happening, I remember my husband was sleeping on the hospital couch. He got up and he took off. I don't know where he went. I don't know. He's known to faint in the hospital when I have babies anyway. So this is really overwhelming for him. But yeah, I started screaming and singing, and the nurse came in, and I couldn't stop until I knew that they were going to take the baby out the room at this time. And they did. And she came in and she says, I can clean him up and bring him to you if you want to hold him and see him. And I was like, the dead baby? Yeah. And she said, yes. And I said, no. And I guess this story allows people to know this happens. I don't know why there's such a stigma over it. There's so much to uncover with these type of stories, from the way you're treated in a hospital, being a Black woman, to the unbelievable mortality, immortality, like the issues when it comes to women in Georgia who are Black, who are dying on the beds. This is crazy. To all the way to abortion. I wanted that child.
Right.
I wanted that child and had to have an abortion.
If this was now, you might not have been able to have an abortion. I would not
be able to have an abortion.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my OBGYN about that afterwards, when the whole situation happened, and the issue, with the leak information of Roe versus Wade and the whole thing that was coming out. And I said, it would be a whole different situation for me now, wouldn't it? He said, completely.
Unbelievable.
But this is what I'm saying.
You would be upside down probably in the hospital for I don't know how long.
Septic shock, stroke out.
Oh my
no one,
gosh.
all for the sake of, because now it's rule. And this is what I mean. This is crazy.
It's crazy. I want to know, and I want to say why I'm asking you this, like how you have been, because my whole life, my mom died several years ago. She died in 2006. But my whole life, we talked about a baby that she lost, and this baby, it was her first child. And so I have two older brothers who recently passed. So I would have had three brothers. Okay. This was the first one. And at 7 months, they had to take the baby. She said she had too much salt in her diet, and she didn't know. She felt like it was something her doctor just neglected or overlooked.
Right.
That it could have been prevented, basically.
Okay.
But it was something that, was always on her spirit. His name was Brian. She, like I said, she was 7 months. Right. And I mean, it wasn't like it was a sad conversation that we would have, but we would just talk about it. Right. It would be a part of conversation of that time in her life and what was going on. And my father's side of the family was very large. And so there was always two people pregnant at the same time. Like one of my father's sisters was pregnant
at the same time.
So my mom had to go through, the celebration of that child 2 months after this happened. And so I was just wondering, have you healed from that?
Heal. I don't know if you ever really completely heal. I think you get better. I think you don't think of it all the time. But I feel like it's an experience that you can never forget. So it always comes back a little bit. And that's why I think it's a responsibility to speak about this type of thing. It's the strangest thing ever to have this type of, it feels like a failure. Your body feels like you don't know what happened because your body has a baby in you and then the baby's gone.
And you're not holding anything in your arms.
You still have milk in your breasts.
Wow.
There is a physical, of course, it's a mental, right? But there's also a physical
trauma.
impact and trauma on your body. It's like, wait, what? Huh? What's happening? So there's a depression. There's a feel of failure, and I hear that women even have some people who have don't have vaginal births, but instead they have C-sections. There's an issue with that. They feel less than, that they couldn't necessarily. I think that we don't speak. We hide. We make things into something that's almost embarrassing. We connect these.
Yeah.
We put so much on I don't understand. We less women because we don't have babies. I don't know.
So much we don't talk about.
We don't share. We don't share. And because I think we don't share, I didn't know how to deal properly and how to work through and what to. We don't put each other on as women. We it's like we hold it on our own and that's a problem in itself because you don't have your support, your village. So we think we're all in it by ourselves, and then we fall into depression.
Yeah, for sure.
It takes longer to shake things. Some things you never shake, like the situation on you, like you said with your mom. It's real, even though time has passed. I don't believe that time heals all wounds. I don't think anything heals all wounds.
Right.
And I think that is something that your body produced, and you're just heal is a very strong word, I think.
And talking about this, I'm just thinking about there's just so much trauma that we don't talk about, as a Black culture.
Yeah.
And even though there's more discussion now, a more openness that we might see on podcasts or, amongst friends, it really is something to overcome the lack of conversation because our culture was you don't talk about certain things.
Right.
It's not discussed. And that is traumatic. In my opinion.
No, of course.
That is traumatic.
And even in a lot of times with the Caribbean culture, don't say it out loud. The air, the wind can hear you. I can't have a conversation with my mother, okay? It's the craziest thing sometimes. I'm like, okay, mom. Okay, mom. Okay. All right. We're not even going to do this today. I can't. I don't have the energy.
What does she say?
Just stuff. I could just talk about anything. I could just say, and you know what? And if, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that out loud so that the wind and the air hears it. We gotta, we're so.
Yeah. My mom used to say, we would have conversations about, she might tell me somebody was in the hospital or something happened. And I'll say, well, what happened? Well, what were they in the hospital for? Well, I don't know. I didn't ask.
They won't. They don't want to. You don't want to ask because you don't want to say that. It. No.
Well, you can ask. No. Yeah.
We're so, I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I think that we put the world on our shoulders. I think there's a reason. I do believe there's a reason why we are like that as a culture. To the point that a lot of people don't go to see a therapist.
Right.
But I think this is the time that we have to find strength in being vulnerable.
Yeah. And I think something that's been on my mind this week is I think our response to vulnerability, it's good for us to take a breath.
Yeah.
I was watching this podcast earlier this week. I really like the podcast. It's I Am Athlete. I mean, it's been gone and it came back, right? And so during the episode, there's a chef that he tends to have. Brandon Marshall is the host, and he tends to have a chef that'll come out with a plate of food for the guests, and then they'll become a part of the conversation for a minute. So this is a new chef to the program, and she's talking about, her background and everything. And then he says, is it true that you cooked for Oprah? And so she said, yes. And so she discussed, what that experience was like. And it was just all great.
Right.
And then she said, and Oprah, told her some really inspiring things. And she said it was like God was talking through her.
Right.
Because she had been going through a really tough time. She had been really depressed. It sounded like her life was going okay, but she was depressed for whatever reason. Right. And so she says, I tell you, just a couple of days before, I was going to kill myself.
She just said that.
Yeah. And then she went further to add the detail of she was going to shoot herself. It was just like, we can't have that be normal. I think they handled it as well as they could. He definitely asked her, he said, I wasn't expecting you to say that. How are you now? And he's a mental health person. He
good.
talks
So
about his mental health a lot.
Okay.
And so, but he was like, how are you now? And he asked her a couple of follow-up questions, and still they moved on within like a minute. And I don't know what else they could have done, but I still felt like this can't be normal. Like, we can't have somebody say this and this be normal. And then we just continue.
Go on.
Not that the conversation couldn't be continued, but I don't know. Maybe it was edited down. I don't know. But that was some pretty deep.
Goodness.
That's pretty something to say.
Do you think that people cry out in different ways?
I do.
Before the major,
I think a lot of times, I think sometimes, maybe not. Like, I know for myself, I might not.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of times where I tell somebody I need them,
yeah.
But sometimes people don't really hear you.
That's another thing.
Like, they don't really hear you.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Yeah. I think that sometimes you might give hints, probably not even consciously. I don't know. And if you do cry out, just like you said, we're so busy.
Yeah.
Do people accept it? Do they know?
Yeah.
Oh, that was big.
Yeah.
That was.
One thing I have to say, this is really giving me an opportunity to say it, is I think that the key is to keep moving forward.
Right.
If you're going through something hard,
Yeah.
like, keep praying, just keep talking to whatever your practice is,
Right.
to keep doing it. There's something that I really have been working towards, in my life, that I really want to take place.
Yes.
And I have been, and then this time of year is a difficult time of year for me, because I have a lot of family that passed in the month of January. And one day last week, I was just feeling, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, I was just feeling like, just really not good, on this particular day. And my best friend from childhood, she calls me up. She never calls me in the middle of the day.
Right.
She called me at like 12:30. She said, how you doing? And I was like, I'm fine, and then she says, you know what I think? I think we should say a prayer about what this thing that you want to happen.
Yeah.
I think we should say a prayer. You ready?
Right in.
And so she says a prayer, and then she says, and I think we should do this every day. I'll do it one day, you do it the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And
almost
so
like
I said,
a prayer partner.
Yeah. And so I said, well, okay, and then we just hang up the phone. And I mean, she had no idea.
Right.
It's not like we talked the day before and, she picked up something on my voice. Like, she had no idea. And it was just so what I needed. And so now we take turns. I'll do the prayer one day, she'll do the prayer the next day. And, we incorporate both of our lives
together,
into the
like
prayer.
that.
And it takes 2 minutes.
But that's community, right?
Yeah.
That's relationship, that's friendship, that's someone that's there.
Yeah. Yeah. But my point too is to keep doing whatever you're doing on your own.
Right.
And whatever prayer, whatever talking, even if you feel hopeless, because the little blessings or the little ways that people will touch you in the ways that you need will happen.
I agree. Yeah, that was deep. But I think that that's a part of the importance to me of having people around that love you and sharing things that sometimes people might find embarrassing or I think that support factor is sometimes what we don't have enough of that. And I think that that's the reason why I feel like I enjoy supporting people. I think that it's needed. I think I need it.
Yeah. What ways do you like to be affirmed?
I think I'm really open. There's some people who are like your cheerleaders, and there's some people who would be like your professor, almost telling you what to do, how to do it, what I would do if I were you, things like that. And then you have the person that's like, yeah, do that. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
You absorb it all.
Me, all of it. I absorb it all. Like I just, I can take both.
Yeah.
I can take someone's like, well, that was great, but if you want to be better, those kind of, fine. just having the support.
Yeah.
And then you could pick, choose, and refuse. Take what you want, don't take what you don't want.
Right.
But at least you feel like you have a plethora of ideas and people, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I love a brainstorm session. I love a debate. I love group activities. I find that it's not only helpful for everyone that's around, and we're pitching ideas and how do we do this and how do we do that. I don't want you to always agree with me. I don't want you always, but I think it's good for creation.
You're open-minded.
All the way.
I love that. I'm that way too.
All the way.
I love that too. Yeah.
I will never get to the next level,
Yeah.
break the glass seal. It's all about being open-minded. That is also a journey. Being able to accept that. Being able to lean into that.
Into what?
Into being open-minded a lot. Because not everything goes your way when you're, you don't have the control to be open-minded.
But don't you get to decide?
Oh, yeah. You can pick from it or take from it, but you can't necessarily decide what it is that's coming to you. You know what I mean? Being open-minded also to me is being able to accepting that you can't fix something, except that you do need help with something.
That is so, because I'm very open-minded. I like to think that I am,
Yeah.
but I find that so wise. You can't control everything that comes to you.
No.
That's one of my things that I'm trying to stay with God. I'm open. I am open.
Yeah.
I'm open to whatever. I'm open to my abundance, all great things.
Yeah.
But even the good things I can't control.
Correct.
Can't control the good things, even if I just keeping it all positive.
Yeah.
And you can't necessarily control the outcome.
Nope. And that lack of control sometimes makes
Wow.
people have, that's part of the growing pains. That's part of anxiety. The part of not being able to control it makes people into, it's hard.
But you get to control you.
Yeah.
You can control you, right.
You could only be responsible and control you. And I think that's a part of understanding the bigger picture. I know that I could only control this end. I can't control the world.
No.
And that is too much of a burden for anybody to bear. I always tell people when they get married, one of my little advice and tidbits to my friends is, and I say, you don't got to listen to me. Everybody's different. I'm different. Your future husband, or fiance might be different. Your husband. But what works for me that I've noticed that is great.
Yes.
And 99 out of 100 is little advice. Like, no one is supposed to be your all. It's crazy.
Right.
Women, we think
They
what?
can't be.
Come on.
But we are taught
Come on.
differently.
We are.
As kids.
We are. From the time that you
Yeah.
hear Prince Charming is coming on a horse.
Right.
We are.
Right.
Especially how deep it goes from now culture, which was a little bit more submissive, like Caribbean women. Or, now it's just all the way around. We have this idea of, women, and now it's about the family or it's about the husband. Now it's all about the kids. It's all, people look at my phone and it's like, that's a picture of you. Yeah, because it's my phone. It's not my husband's phone. It's not my kid's phone. It's my phone.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Ladora, you don't put them on Instagram. So they got their own.
Right.
That's mine.
Right. Right.
Men don't leave their friends for marriage. A lot of women do. They don't talk to their friends as much. They don't have
Men
that support
don't leave their friends
when they get married.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of women do.
Yes.
Women, have your own life, have your own hobby. It is not fair to put on that man to be your all.
No, it
That
doesn't
is a
work.
burden too much for anybody to
It doesn't even
bear.
work for the woman.
Exactly.
It not only doesn't work for the man, but it doesn't work for the woman.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I say all that to say, you can only try to control as much as you can control with you.
Right.
You.
Right.
And as long as you know that you can't control everything, I think that that's one of the most important pieces of knowledge.
Yeah.
That take you on this journey.
What would you say, and you might have said it already, what would you say is your superpower?
Oh my goodness. What is it? Okay, so I have a superpower. There's a superpower I wish I had.
What's
I
that?
don't have it, though.
What's that? I like that. I like that
yeah.
question.
I don't know if you can grow for it. You know, like you grow muscles, work and get it, or if it's just not going to happen.
Okay.
But I want a shorter memory. I tell my son when he's playing basketball, you got to have a short memory basketball. You can't think about the last shot that you made that did not go in. It will destroy the rest of this game.
That's true.
You got to take that shot that did not go in, and you got to be just as confident to run back down that court and keep playing this game like you didn't take that shot.
That's right.
So I really feel that if I can grow a superpower and build towards one, that's what I want.
That's your be all and end all with what we were talking about earlier. That's about being present.
Yeah.
That's where God is.
Yeah.
That's your be all and end all.
Yeah.
Being present.
Being present.
Forget about yesterday, 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Take it off.
And so what is your superpower, you think?
I think my superpower might be, oh goodness. I'm pretty good at being ridiculous. I am. And when I say ridiculous, I will do things that I'm not supposed to be able to do. Almost as a dare.
Yeah.
Almost as something that I want to see how this happens.
Yes.
I am not afraid of being ridiculous, of failing, of making mistakes like that. I never had that bone.
That's
People would get
awesome.
embarrassed in school if I remember being younger by having the wrong answers. My hand stayed up. I didn't have that bone. I really, really didn't. I wasn't so embarrassed like my really smart friend who sat beside me, Camille, who she pretty much knew everything, but was so scared to be wrong that she always had her hand down. You're crazy. I wish I'm a C student. You're an A student. Like, this is crazy. And I would just take advantage. I would shoot my shots.
That's why you love that word bold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what do you get? I mean, I can answer this for you, but I want you to answer it. What do you get out of being that way?
Oh my goodness. It makes me excited. Thinking about the ridiculousness makes me excited. Thinking about these obstacles or these ideas or these projects, and some of them might be lifelong projects. I feel like I would rather be wrong than not to raise my hand in class. My happiness would be coming from the point of me being, trying 10 times, and that one time I did get it right. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That trumped all of it.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality kind of leads me into the walk in the fire type of person where I'll get knocked down. I'm not going to make it all the time. I get it. But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I don't have the luxury to anyway. My lifestyle, my thought pattern, the things that I feel responsible of and things I need to do.
Right.
I can't have that mentality.
You're being
going.
led, it sounds like, in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yeah, always. I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience all the time when I do things. People think, like, I just say to it's ridiculousness. Like, that's my word. This is ridiculousness. It's madness. And
that's from where the spirituality that I come from, that is so high. That is like such a high form of being. To be confused is a high state.
Yeah.
To be, you're not defined, you're
Right.
formless, you're fluid, you're open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is the best way to be. I can't say that I'm like that.
Oh, goodness.
I have moments, but I know that I envy that. I think that's a wonderful way to be. That's a wonderful way to be. And you get to, basically, you believe that you can do anything good.
Yeah.
You can do anything good.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do 5 things that you try to do,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't do 5 out of 10 things that you try to do, the 5 things that you're able to do is probably beyond what you had imagined.
Boom. Boom.
Wow. Yeah. That's saying so much. That's saying so much. So do you leave it, like some people might consciously pray for something,
Yes.
but you might leave it open because God can create it.
The opportunities for me.
Yeah.
And I've realized the thing
Yeah.
is, and this is going to sound, because I'm not going to say it right. I'm not going to say what I'm about to say right. I sometimes don't want to pray for something because in life, my experience is when I did, I got a better situation. And I almost feel as if I trust him to give it to me than
Right.
sometimes my burning desire of having something.
Right. Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So it feels like, it makes me feel strange, not bad, but you know how you could talk to your girlfriend about something or your friend about something and share something and say, this is really what I want. I second guess doing that because
Yeah.
I feel like this is nothing compared to what
Yeah.
I prayed to win a seat to sit in city council. Instead, I got a TV show nationwide exposing sexism after losing.
Right.
How? What are we talking about here? This is
Yes.
literally a little itty bitty place
Right.
in a city called Sandy Springs.
Right. And I was just thinking a few minutes ago how you could have said to yourself one day, I wonder what it's like to be a man. I'll never know.
Exactly.
You could have said that to yourself.
Certainly. Most certainly.
Or I'll probably never know. I wonder what it's
and
going to
look,
be like to be a man.
exactly. It's just hands down.
Yeah.
Like I had men genitals. They gave me the whole full thing. I had a bodysuit.
Yes.
You can't make this stuff up. I am not that artistic to make up some of the things. That's why I can't give myself that credit. That's why I feel like I can't really come and say, this is what I pray for. So my prayer is, I need you to do what you do for me. That's best for me. And I will just swallow what it is I want. Because of course I'm going to have wants.
Yes.
But I can't come to you
But
with it
God
like
knows
that.
what you want.
Exactly. And
He
I feel
already
that
knows
too.
your heart.
Exactly. And I feel that too. So when I ask for something, I don't ask for it anymore. I ask, you know what's inside me.
You ask
know
one
what
time.
I want. I ask for you to take control of this situation and give me what it is that you know I need.
I love that. You're so inspiring.
Oh my goodness. So much work. So much work over here to get done.
I so appreciate you for talking to me. And if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best
Oh
way?
my goodness. Yes. I am on all the platforms. I just don't do TikTok good. Like, it's just one of those things. They're going to have to show me.
You seem
and
like
teach
you'd be
me.
perfect at that.
My girlfriend said the same thing to me yesterday. She said, are you kidding me? You are the one that needs to be like,
Right.
what in the world? I'm going to have to just take your phone one day and I'll start you
Right.
off. But I said, maybe because it's just, I just haven't had I don't know. But so for right now, until I get my TikTok life together, just Instagram is a great way for me. It's Ladora Milteer.
Yeah.
Or Facebook, same, Ladora Milteer.
And spell your name. You have apostrophe in your
Yes,
name.
I do. L-E accent, capital D-O-R. Milteer is M-I-L-T-E-E-R. And that's for Facebook. I don't think I have an accent in my Instagram one. But it'll bring me straight, pretty much bring you straight there once you put in L-E.
Gosh, I just had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so into docs. Like, I want to do a doc on me and my best friend and our friendship. And
Yes.
I feel like you should have somebody film you, like follow you around with a camera for a week. Definitely one day, but for a week. Like from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep at night. You know, you should have somebody just follow you with a camera. I bet you that would
There
be
is something on you. This is the conversation my friend had with me yesterday. Like, yes, you are very intuitive. Like, I don't know what it is, but you are very, this is a conversation that I recently submitted 11 ideas to the same network, and we are in communication right now with potential projects.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I feel like there's a lot for me to kind of play
How do
with.
you describe yourself to them when you tell them that you want them to follow you, or like you would make a great doc?
Well, I haven't done any with me. The ones that I've submitted, the 11 that I've submitted is pretty much the ideas of other docs, other things.
You are so funny.
I haven't done one for me.
Well, I mean, for one thing, I think that you have like such an active, fascinating life, you know, and then also I feel like it would be so great for you.
Yeah.
It would just be so many enlightening moments of your power.
And then there's the other side where like I am officially, like, I promise you I am Lucille Ball. Like I really am. My husband is like, oh my goodness. I'm the one. I'm like, oh yeah, I said that, or I did that, or I did commit to that. Okay, let's see how we're gonna work.
How are you gonna work that out?
And I just jump out the window and I just build my wings on the way down. It is reckless, but it's you know.
You remind me of me and my best friend in college, how we would go out not knowing how we're gonna get back. Like
sometimes it'll work out. It'll work out. I love that. It'll work out.
So can you share, you don't have to, but can you share like the network or share more about that? So
right now there's I don't want to say the word bid and war. It's used so often with the different bidding wars, but I have it in front of a few major networks that I guess we'll just kind of see what fits their agenda, style, audience, everything from fun networks to a little bit more serious ones. I hate to say because no one has, the only commitment is through the production company that I have signed a production agreement with, which is Lucky 8, which was the same production company that Bravo used with In a Man's World, because I made such great relationships with them.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, that's not Viola Davis's company? That's your company, Lucky 8?
No, Lucky 8 is the company that took on Bravo and Viola Davis production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
wow.
So what they did was just kind of opened up their relationships of networks. So I don't have any confirmed one, but it's just crazy that I am on the table. Like,
yes,
that's what I'm. Nothing can happen. Depending
you're more
on
than
however,
in the room. You're on the table. Yeah,
like that. I have never produced.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Never.
You would be the producer of these ideas. Yeah. One of the producers of these ideas.
Exactly. And I think that's just one of those things where it's just like, this is why I tell people, listen, you'll figure it out. You'll get back home.
Yeah.
Go out there and still be able to just shoot your shot.
Yeah.
I've shot a lot and a lot did not go in. But you keep on, because the ones that do go in, that is their life changing.
Awesome. That's awesome. And you were not like the focus of any of these ideas that you put out there.
Not at all. I don't find myself that fascinating. And you know, it's so funny because I said that I was, when I came to Atlanta before I ran for office, and what made me want to run for office is I was the VP of broadcast for the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists. Yeah.
Yes.
And we had a little show on Comcast, In Contact. And I was just supposed to be VP of broadcast, not necessarily the host, not necessarily the producer, not doing all. And I did. I got so deep in it that I would find all the different people to come on this little show. It only reached probably, they said the span of Georgia reaches 2 million or whatever the case may be in certain areas. But me having these guests come and speak about their life and how strong community was is what gave me that aha. Mm-hmm. I already had a little bit of it because I got a feel of it as a business owner in Sandy Springs. Having here studios where women are involved with that. We became a force. We became a community. So I always had it. But really hearing policy and other issues and elected officials and having that on it, that's when it was like ding, ding, ding. Okay, I think I found my next project.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. Thank you so much. We have to do a part 2 to this. We got to do a part 2.
I feel like I just got here. Adrienne, you're so gifted with this.
Thank you so much, Lador.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can listen to all of our episodes on traditional podcast platforms. Until next time, let's start healing.